Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk. I ask unanimous consent that it be considered as read.
Objection. Clerk will designate.
Amendment number 53, offered by Mr. Maloney.
Mr. Maloney is recognized to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have another very simple amendment to this legislation that touches on an extremely important issue that every member of this body should take seriously. The amendment would require GAO to examine methane emissions related to natural gas pipeline infrastructure and their overall impacts on the commitments the United States has made internationally to reduce our overall greenhouse gas emissions. I recognize that this is an issue that the EPA is currently examining, but I also know that it's an issue that must involve all aspects of our government if we are truly to understand and combat global climate change. I know some of my colleagues may be skeptical about this issue, but as we've seen, the effects of global climate change do not impact only Democratic districts or Republican districts, but it impacts all of our constituents. And my amendment would simply allow us to understand better the role that methane emissions play in the growing problem of climate change. So whether it's the crippling impacts of Superstorm Sandy in New York and New Jersey or the devastating floods we've seen more recently in Texas, we want to understand what's going on with our climate, and we want to understand the role that methane emissions are playing, particularly because there are mitigations we can employ to capture methane or reduce methane emissions if it is determined to be as damaging to our overall climate change goals as some believe. So my amendment simply allows us to understand the scope of the problem and therefore, as Congress, be better positioned to address it. With that, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman for offering the amendment. Again, I must oppose this amendment, and I can assure you that I take it very, very seriously. The methane gas in my district in Pennsylvania with the Marcellus gas play and the increased construction of pipelines throughout Pennsylvania, as I said, we take it very, very seriously. Although such projects are already reviewed by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, and must later then undergo a National Environmental Policy Act, a NEPA analysis, which will determine the environmental impact of those proposed projects. These NEPA determinations are case-by-case and fact-specific, and I do not believe this is the appropriate forum for this amendment. Again, I would oppose this amendment and recognize any other members wish to be heard. Seeing none, are there members to the amendments? Seeing none, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Nay. Nays have it. The amendment is not agreed to.